On our first night in Prague, my wife and I took a twilight river cruise and noticed a hospital along the water. Since we've been traveling for weeks and she's pregnant, we said let's go back there tomorrow and get an ultrasound. The next morning, we walked to the hospital, waited about 35 minutes in the ER, and got to hear our daughter's heartbeat and get printout pictures of her while in Prague. It was the perfect beginning to our trip, and it made the next few weeks even that much more memorable, getting to bring our daughter with us everywhere we went.
As we walk around the beautiful city of Prague, one quote that just keeps coming back to my mind over and over again is that time is the only currency we spend without knowing how much balance you have left. So stop waiting to take action and just jump in, because you never know when your time is going to run out. One thing that I've also learned about Prague and being here is that running your business in Prague is also an amazing location, because it's perfect between Eastern and Western Europe, and also with the high quality of life that you get from living here and the low cost of living. That combination brings you a lot of clients, but it also lets you enjoy your life as what we all want as business owners. So we didn't start a business to have another job. We started a business to get time and freedom and be able to do the things that we want to do. And Prague is one of the perfect locations in Central Europe for you to take advantage of that. As we just keep exploring around, something that comes to my mind is that it's sad when people tell me that they want to wait 6 months, or they'll start on Monday, or they'll start on the first of the next month, and that time actually never comes. They always want to kick the can down the road, and they want to think about it. They think life's going to get easier as the time goes on. They think they'll have more money to start. They think they'll have more time to start, but really, you just get caught up in the cycles of life, and you do what your boss wants you to do, you do your family requirements, and really, every now and then, it just takes one person in your family that's going to commit to actually making the change. So rather than saying you'll do it in 6 months, or rather than saying you'll kick the can down the road, you need to just decide and start. And if you don't know how to start, there are people that want to help you. You just need to make the decision to do so and stop trying to kick it down the road, because that time is actually never going to come. Life is never going to get easier for you. So you just need to make the decision and do it now.
I can never sit still. So when my wife decides it's time for her to take a nap after a long morning, I always explore the local barbershops to keep my hair tight on the sides and clean on the top.
It's impossible to save your way to actually being rich. So even if you had the ability to make $500 extra income every month that you traded your time for, after taxes, you'd get about $350 of those dollars. But let's say that taxes didn't even exist and that you saved $500 a month for 30 years. That's $180,000. And sure, that sounds great, but $180,000 is not enough to give you the retirement life that you'd likely want. So instead, in order to make that $180,000, you could do it in 7 years if you just buy one rental property. So one rental property for $500,000 will give you on average 5.4% return of appreciation year over year. So in just 7 years, you'll have $25,000 a year times 7 years would give you $175,000. So rather than having to wait 30 years and save $500 diligently every month, just buy a rental property and you don't have to do anything else, and you'll make $25,000 a year in appreciation without even having to struggle to save anything. In any business or any job or anything that you own or do, you're either the hammer or you're the nail. So you can be the one that is being used and the one that gets told what to do, like the nail, and you don't have any decisions in what you're doing or how the business is functioning or actually benefiting from what the business does. Or you can be the hammer and be the owner of the business and be the one that makes decisions and the one that genuinely wins when the business wins. So instead of wasting all of your time for some other business owner or some CEO at your 9-to-5 job, just start your own business, and this way you can actually be the person making decisions and the one that's actually rewarded when things go really well. It's funny, like when I originally started investing, I played soccer at my university and I lived in what was called the soccer house. So like with a bunch of soccer guys and like my team all lived together. And when I graduated, I asked my dad, like, why didn't you just buy the property and then rent it out to me and my friends? And you would have made money, I would have went for free. And he like kind of laughed at me and he's like, well, why don't you go do it now? So I'm like, okay, I will. So then I started learning like then about real estate, and really it's like taking a slight risk to jump into something that you don't know or don't fully understand. But as soon as you're willing to like take that jump into it, I just decided, okay, like you can never fully understand something before actually going through it unless you really know somebody like close and they'll explain to you how to do it. So really it's like taking that first step and first leap. So I created my LLC and then I started touring properties and I learned how to do the property analysis. And then it was really that moment though that my dad kind of like laughed and said, just do it yourself then. So I did, and then I bought my first one and then actually started renting it to the soccer guys and the different teams like at the university. And so then that was like the first one, but then that one became like another one a year later, and then I just saved up the cash flow and wouldn't like use any of that money or put it into my bank really. I just kept saving it, and then when that was enough for another down payment, then I took that money and bought a second one, and then it became like the field hockey girls, and then did it for a third one for the lacrosse team. And so like it kind of just kept going like that with student rentals in the beginning. And then after that, like switched to the multifamily properties, and then now kind of keep going with the multifamily properties, just having like multiple incomes in one building pay for one mortgage and one insurance and one property tax is like my new strategy. But it definitely started with that idea of student rentals and was just a lower barrier of entry to get into. Good morning, handsome. We just heard back from the seller's attorney. They said that they're willing to do the additional $7,500 seller's assist. So that actually puts us up to $17.5 thousand seller's assist now, which is cool because that should fully cover your closing costs, or at least relatively close. I think closing costs were what, $19,000. So that'll only be like $1.5 thousand that you need to bring to settlement. Outside of that, it's just the down payment. So I think we decided to put down 5%. So it's just the 5% down, and you won't have to worry about any of the other closing costs or any of those fees or anything that we originally had. So yeah, 17.5 thousand seller's assist, which is their concession, obviously going right to your down payment and the cash to close out of your pocket. So it's way better than applying it to the loan, obviously, which we could decide to do, but I highly recommend just keeping it to cover the closing costs so that you don't need to worry about those. I will send it over on DocuSign in a little bit. I'm about to head into a cafe for breakfast here in Prague, but then I will send it over to you. Cool. Walking around the streets of Prague and seeing the traditional style buildings and all the cool pastel colors in the historic district makes you really wonder, like, is it better to buy a new construction property, or is it better to buy maybe somewhere that is being renovated? And the idea around here is that almost all the area cannot be new construction anymore because it's utilized and there's really nowhere else to build. So in those areas, no matter what city you're in, it's great to take advantage of the newly renovated buildings. And so with the historic and the traditional features, you're not going to be able to change too much. But when you do find an area that lets you renovate, the best way to make money is to utilize one of those locations that really can't have anything else new built there. That way, when you renovate in the area, you are the newest and most modern in the beautiful historic district, and that's going to make you the most money over time. So we found this really cool neo-Gothic architecture church. And one thing that I just want to emphasize is to don't leave your life to chance. I really get annoyed when people tell me or I hear that I'm lucky. Like, this is not luck. It's very calculated. I am not leaving my family's chance to luck. I am not leaving my future children's life to luck. I'm not leaving my life to luck. Everything that happened to me is a very calculated decision that I decided to do. So nothing in your life should be left to chance. If there is a path that you can take in order to achieve what you want to do, you should go ahead and tackle that. Nothing of this is luck. Running a multi-million-dollar portfolio is not luck. Everything that I've done is not being lucky. Of course, I was given the chance to do it, and the knowledge that I have and the amount of education that I went through, and I am extremely thankful for that. But running the portfolio is not luck, and everything that happened after that to make the decisions that I did is 100% not luck. So take the advantage when you have it and jump into the decisions of your life to make sure that your children and your future family is not left to luck or chance.